Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily, our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson in the Johnson edition. We turned out a poem 227, Teach Him When He Makes the Name. Now, this is a poem that's virtually impossible to understand unless you know that this is one of Emily's more happy poems, was sent to Mrs. Sam Boyles upon the birth of her child, and of course Sam's child, Charles, the 19th of December, 1861. And in that regards, it was in fact titled The Baby. So Emily is celebrating the birth of a child here, and obviously we're familiar with this game that's already been played. We've seen it. Our assumptions that you've been following our stuff at LearnStrong.net down the left-hand side, chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful you've worked through our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've worked through the preceding 226 poems. We just finished with 226, Should He But Fail at Sea. Now, in some ways, this poem will remind us of 218, where that was a new baby poem as well, there to Sue, here, of course, to Sam and his wife. Emily wants to somehow be included in helping raise the child, Charles. And it is interesting to think that Emily is watching all of these people who are close to her have children, and she herself is not having children. Of course, she will remain single all her life and never have the experience of children. It isn't completely clear the degree to which Emily was happy, or maybe sometimes frustrated, even possibly jealous, by all of these people having these experiences, while she herself is birthing a different kind of birth, obviously, all these poems that we're studying. Let's just enjoy the poem. Teach him, when he makes the names, such an one to say on his babbling peri lips, as should sound to me, were my ear as near his nest, as my thought today, as should sound, forbid us not, some like Emily. The syntax is obviously a bit contorted here, but I think it's a fairly simple poem in that regards. Again, the hymn here is in reference to Charles Bowles, who, again, born 19th of December, 1861. Notice, when he gets old enough to begin to learn language, that is to say, he makes the names. In other words, he understands the names. That is so-and-so, that is so-and-so, that is so-and-so. Obviously, the last word of the poem is in quotation marks. I hope that he learns my name. In other words, I hope that I have the ability to be close enough that he learns my name. Such a one to say, on his, notice all the B sounds here, babbling berry lips, as should sound to me, again, finishing with Emily, right? Where my ear as near his nest. Now this is interesting. Children as referenced by birds, and the idea of being small and all that. As my thought today, in other words, this is what I'm thinking, as should sound, forbid us not. Now, this of course takes us back to Luke 18:16, where Christ said, suffer the little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Notice here, forbid us not is in quotation marks to reference the Luke 18:16 passage. Some here probably meaning something like Emily. In other words, it's a very accessible poem in this regards. It's a joy to be a part of a child's education, and she hopes that there will be a relationship that she will be able to have with Charles that in fact she also has with Sam and with Mrs. Boyles. And we've already commented a little bit on Emily's correspondences with Charles as well. At 2B, I am interested in this idea that children are very much in Emily's world like birds, living in nests and the like, which at 3A, you remember our study of Macbeth, and especially Macbeth 4:2, that famous passage where Lady Macduff and Ross are talking about why it is that Macduff has fled and run away, what made him fly the land. We've given full lectures on this at LearnStrong.net. You can run that to ground, but you do remember that Macduff's son, right before he is murdered, right, by the henchmen of Macbeth, will have a conversation with his mother about how children are little baby birds, and no one cares about catching little baby birds in the net. And obviously, Luke 18:16 comes to mind as well. The kingdom is like little children. I think this is significant in Emily's psychology. I think she sees herself always in her life as being childlike, and therefore accessible to the kingdom of God in ways that others maybe cannot be. Finally, to own a little poem like this was a time that you got to play a part in the life of a new child, a new infant or a growing child. And to what degree was that a source of great joy for you? I hope that it is. Thank you.